Nothing could have prepared us for this. Roger Federer announced his retirement, and we feel absolutely shattered. The Swiss maestro has been the beating heart of tennis for over 20 years, and we're not ready to say goodbye yet. Of course, as injuries and age caught up with him, this was inevitable, but we're devastated all the same. And in today's video, we're talking about Federer calling time on his career. With a heavy heart, let's get started. First up, the world hears of Roger Federer. It's hard to think of a time when FedEx wasn't a household name. Shortly after Pete Sampras became the 13-time Grand Slam champion, he was asked if he could think of anybody beating that record. It's a question that everybody around the world has asked too many times, and it seemed like Sampras had reached something untouchable. Exactly a year later, a young boy from Switzerland who would break that very record topped Pistol Pete on center court. In other sports, the concept of a youngster taking the baton from a veteran is a myth, but in the case of Roger Federer, that's exactly what happened. He announced his arrival at the top of tennis by defeating his idol, Sampras, at the age of 19 in the fourth round of the 2001 Wimbledon. It was truly the passing of the mantle. 2 years later, the Swiss legend won his first title at Wimbledon and guided men's tennis into a new era. The rest, as they say, is history. Next, the rise of Federer. Federer's love affair with tennis began when he was a ball boy at his home in Basel, but it always felt like it was meant to be. He ruthlessly tore through the field and started playing the game better than anybody else before him. And it's unlike anything that we've ever seen to this day. Nobody could touch him when he was coming up. Many tried and many failed. He outplayed Andy Roddick, Leighton Hewitt, and anybody else who came his way. At that time, he had no rivals. He was simply too good for anybody else. Between the years of 2004 and 2007, the maestro won 11 slams, collecting victories and titles at a ridiculously astounding rate. And he made it look so easy. He would suffocate his opponents with his smooth, all-out aggression, his divine forehand. The greatest we have ever seen so early into his career. He moved like the wind, but was always super precise and efficient. His arsenal of shots was endless, and he built one of the greatest serves of all time. As he says goodbye to the sport that he redefined, there will be very few sights left more impressive than a one-handed Roger Federer backhand. Now, numbers also show the giant that Federer really was, but it's the pure aesthetics of how he played that gave him a home in everybody's hearts. He made tennis look effortless. He had the intelligence of the game that was simply unmatched, and he was always super graceful, in victory and in defeat. Moving on, Federer announces his retirement. The Swiss legend is set to retire after the Laver Cup in London next week. It will bring an end to one of the greatest sporting careers in the history of any sport. On his socials, Federer posted a lengthy statement explaining his decision. He talked about the past 3 years and all the challenges that he faced in the form of injuries and surgeries, and said that he worked really hard to be fully in competitive form. But he knew his body's limits, and he said that the message was clear. He was 41 years old, he had played more than 1,500 matches over 24 years, and he recognized that it was time to end his competitive career. He stated that he'd, of course, play tennis moving forward, just not on tour or Grand Slams. Federer said that tennis had treated him more generously than he could have ever dreamt, but he deserved every bit of it. Roger Federer was a magician on the tennis court, and his absence will be deeply felt. Coming up, the world reacts to this news. Federer pushed the sport of tennis to unprecedented heights, so of course, in the process, he touched many hearts, and the world of tennis came together to pay tribute to its biggest star. Rafa Nadal was one of the first people to address the Swiss maestro, as he posted a very touching tribute for him on his socials. He started with, "Dear Roger, my friend and rival," and went on to say that he wished this day would never have come. He said that it was a sad day for him personally and for sports all around the world. He shared that it had been a pleasure, but also an honor and a privilege to share all these years with him, living so many amazing moments on and off the court. Andy Roddick, who was beaten many times by Federer in Grand Slams throughout his career, shared a tribute for the Swiss on his Twitter. He thanked the maestro for all the shared memories and said that it was an honor to share experiences and time on the most hallowed grounds in our sport. He ended his tweet with, "Don't be a stranger." Billie Jean King called Roger a champion's champion and wrote that he had the most complete game of his generation and captured the hearts of fans around the world with an amazing quickness on the court and a powerful tennis mind. What's more, the Williams sisters pay tribute. It almost makes sense that Roger Federer and Serena Williams retire around the same time. After all, the two started out together. They've had kind of similar journeys, and both reached the highs in the sport that nobody else has ever been able to reach. The younger Williams posted a very touching post on Instagram sharing pictures of the two megastars, and she had the most wholesome caption. She stated that she wanted to find the perfect way to say this, as he so eloquently put this game to rest. Perfectly done, just like the rest of his career. The 27-time Grand Slam champ said that she always looked up to him and admired him. She thanked him for being him and welcomed him to the retirement club. Also, she posted another story of them and said that she was going to miss his face on tour and stated that retirement just got the greatest of all time. Even Venus Williams posted a picture of the two holding their Wimbledon trophies and called Federer the greatest ever, and said that she missed him already. She also shared her sister's post and wrote that she was kind of upset Serena got to hang out and have more photos with the Swiss legend than her. And you know what? We totally understand the sentiment. It's super heartwarming to see these legends support each other like this. It's the only thing that's making this time any easier. Up next, Roger Federer says goodbye. The maestro ended his post by sharing that it was a bittersweet decision. He said that he was going to miss everything the tour had given him, but at the same time, he had so much to celebrate. He wrote that he considered himself one of the most fortunate people on the planet. He talked about his talent for playing tennis and revealed that he did it at a level that he never imagined, and for longer than he ever thought was possible. Roger talked about being a ball boy in Basel and how he used to watch the players with a sense of wonder, and he remembered looking at them like they were giants, and that's when he began to dream. He said his dreams led him to working harder, and he started to believe in himself, and it led him to the most amazing journey that got him to this day. He's now the idol for the up-and-coming stars. And finally, tennis without Federer. It's gonna be weird seeing the game without Roger. He's been a constant in our lives for decades now, and it wasn't supposed to end like this. If it was up to us, he would have played forever. Like literally, we never want him to leave. But we didn't imagine injuries ending the greatest career of all time. We had been eagerly waiting for his return to professional tennis at the Swiss indoors later this year, and it feels like a cruel joke that it won't happen now. He should have been able to go out on his own terms. We can't come to terms with the fact that the last game that the King of Wimbledon played on center court ended with an 0-6. Earlier this year, he said that he was hoping to come back to Wimby one last time, but that's not going to happen now, and we can't deal with that. But such is life. Federer will always have a giant place in tennis. We can't wait to see how he progresses in the sport, and we'll take all of him that we can get. Rest assured, we're sure he'll be exceptional at whatever he does next, as he always is. And that's a wrap for this video. What do you think is next for Roger Federer? Let us know in the comments below, and make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this. We'll see you in the next one.